did you freeze or are we good? Did I freeze?
I did a little bit. Hello, everyone. I am here with my great friend Paige. We met in New York at one of the many networking events that I believe both of us have been going to as we were building our businesses. And now Paige is actually in California. I will let her introduce herself, but she will definitely help you look amazing in videos. Hi, Paige. How are you?
Hi, Katya. I'm so good. It is so sunshiny here.
That's great.
I hate to brag, but it is just a beautiful day here in California.
And I love the lighting in your room.
Yeah,
You're right in front of the window, right?
It is
very beautiful.
very, very strategic, and I teach people how to do this kind of lighting every day. But when I was looking for a place to live, I was like, it has to have natural light. It's so important to have natural light for your videos. And I knew I was going to be doing a lot of video. So it's very helpful to have this giant window in front of me.
Yeah. And not even just for the videos, especially in our situation right now, when people are dealing with so much stress, I feel like, huge windows are so, it's like being basically in paradise, right? You have all of this good light and it helps with the mood. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of healing, like having just knowing that it's daytime outside and that the sun is shining and life is moving on.
By the way, about life moving on, I love your hair. How did this happen? The pink ends. This is so gorgeous.
Yeah, everyone's dealing with quarantine in their own way, and I was like, I want to like change it up. I want something different. It's actually a little bit of an experiment that I'm doing in terms of to see if I get more views on videos, when I have pink hair.
Really? Wow.
I'm curious. Like, I'm very curious to see, like, what is it that draws people in? Because right now, so many people are doing video, right? And so we're always watching content and consuming content. We're always scrolling, and it's like, what stops the scroll? Is it pink hair? It might be. I don't know. To be determined.
That's so funny. Okay, at least it's pink, right? Not, I don't know, electric blue or something.
Yeah, I'm starting with pink. We'll see where it goes. It feels very like unicorn-ish,
Yeah. No, I love it. I totally love it. And I love the curl also, the waves.
Thank you. The natural beachy waves.
So who is your sort of normal audience? Who do you help?
I help people who are struggling on camera. So a lot of people come to me and they know that they want to be on video. They know they want to be sharing their message. They know they want to start a YouTube channel. They're seeing everybody else doing it and they kind of know how to do it. Like, they, like, generally speaking, know how to turn on a camera and click record, but there's fear getting in their way. There's fear of like, what happens if I'm judged? What happens if nobody watches my videos and I put myself out there vulnerably? So there's a lot of things that come up when you go to shoot videos, more so than any other medium right now. It's like a very, very vulnerable medium. And so I help people navigate that. Yeah,
definitely. About that vulnerability, photography compared to video recording. I remember it was in, I believe, August or September of last year, I actually finally decided. I mean, I had that idea for many years prior to that, but I finally decided to start recording videos of myself doing something similar what we're doing now, but in person with my photography clients. And I remember for my very first video, I had so much resistance to that, because thinking, as a photographer, you have a sort of a static image, right? You can, retouch a little bit and, remove some blemishes and whatnot, or wrinkles. And then I was like, wow, I need to be on video. It's raw. I don't know how to edit it afterwards. But I was lucky because the client whom I was interviewing that day, she's actually a coach of nothing to do with video, but like a coach who can help you feel better. And so she actually talked me through this right before we hit recording. So I totally understand and can relate to that fear that people are having. And I'm so happy that you're one of the people who can help them with that, because what I remember about you, like from when I don't even remember when we met, it must have been
Years
5 years
ago.
ago or
Years
something.
ago,
Yes, like
yeah.
many years ago. I always remember you were sort of like this sparkly, bubbly personality. It's like you laugh and I remember I even like photographed you hugging someone. It was like such a like I wanted to hug you right in that moment too. So really, I love your energy is what I'm saying. And so again, like I'm really happy that you're one of the people who help other people with
Thank you. Thank you.
the
Well,
confidence.
lately what I've been doing is because of quarantine, and I think this is, maybe related to what you want to talk about, or maybe not, but I've been pivoting a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I've started teaching virtual improv classes.
Oh wow,
Because
that's so cool.
I started doing improv in New York City at Upright Citizens Brigade in 2012. And I saw so many parallels between the progress I was making in improv class and the progress I was making in my business, and
Wow.
all of the ways that you have to show up, and you have to listen really well, and you have to be present in the moment when you're working with a client or on a sales call or networking with somebody, right? And all of these skills were also improv skills.
Yeah.
And because of all of this that's been going on, I see so many people struggling to really like show up powerfully on video and wanting to, like, they have this desire. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to teach a couple improv classes and see how it goes. And that's been really, really fun and exciting for me, and kind of this new just this new like level of my business that I am excited to explore.
No, this is so awesome, because it actually also reminded me how back in while I was still in actually in California, in San Francisco Bay Area,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of my friends, and she was taking improv classes for her career development. Because I remember, I will never forget what she said, because it was so surprising to me. Why would you start taking improv classes for your career? It makes no sense to me. But the way she explained that to me is that it helps you think on your feet, right? Because you are there in the moment, and like you said, you have to listen and you have to also react.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's a transformational experience, but doing an improv class, like it
Mm.
really is. And I could go on and on about like all of the benefits of improv and everything, but when you were speaking to like my energy and all of that stuff, like I bring those skills that I've learned over the years doing improv classes. I bring that into my business all the time, into my videos, into my networking. And so
Mm.
I think it really shows.
Yeah. So speaking of networking, now that we're sort of locked in our lockdown, so how do you approach networking?
Um, I try to find a balance between like staring at my computer all day long and like, reading a book or going for a walk. So it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to find that balance, because at first I was like, oh, I'm going to do all of these virtual networking events. I'm going to attend everything. And I signed up for so many, and I was back to back to back. And then I was just like, I think I just got the hit that this like whole situation on our planet is like not a time to book yourself back to back. In
Yeah.
fact, it's a time to like go inward and slow down and
Mm.
do a yoga class as you feel like it, like
Yes,
feel into
definitely.
what you want in that moment and
Yeah.
be present.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing some like virtual networking things, and I think it's really fun, like reaching out to old friends, who we
Yes.
haven't seen in forever, and being able to connect with them, whether on like a business level or a personal level, and just like playing games over the internet. There's just like lots of different options.
Yeah. Yeah, so you would not say, because the reason I'm asking this question these days is because I saw a headline, and like sometimes headlines are trying to make dramatic impact on people, but there was I think it was Wall Street Journal or something like that, where they were saying something like coronavirus killed network, and I'm like, really? I have attended maybe like 3 or 4 in just this past week virtually. So but I mean, when I read the article, they were talking about like some professions who are really dependent on face-to-face interactions, or the way they run their businesses. But again, that headline, I was like, it killed networking. I was like, I'm not so sure.
I think it's just a reinvention,
Yeah.
they're reinventing different ways of doing something. And honestly, I never would have run an improv class here in person in LA. Thanks to COVID, like I just saw this need, and I saw this desire, and I have an audience across the country,
Yeah.
and so it was really amazing to be able to bring everybody together in one space. And I could have only done that with those people virtually.
Yeah. Or even not even just the country. I mean, you can think of, Canada and
Globally.
yeah, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the past year that I've been coaching, I mean, I've had clients in Switzerland and France and Mexico. I think there was somebody from Canada. I mean, everywhere. And it's
all over.
Yeah, it's all over. Yeah. Okay. So, you help people to overcome their fears and maybe psychological barriers as it comes to video. So what are your sort of favorite tips to give people?
All right. So let's see. If we're talking about camera confidence and not video strategy, because I talk about both, like as you get like YouTube, I love talking about YouTube strategy too, but let's talk about camera confidence. Okay. So the first and foremost, is just like the more practice you get, the better you'll get at it. It's like, if you think about something that you are really, really good at and you're super confident doing, and you can just go out there and do that thing, whether it's like, run 10 miles or, like, I don't know, shoot hoops, whatever. What you're really confident doing, it took time. You weren't just like born with this confidence gene to be able to like get in front of the camera and talk. So that's what I'll say is, like, it's a marathon. Like, take your time, pace yourself, and don't give up after the first couple videos. You're going to have to make a couple like bad videos before you start making good ones. And that's just how it goes. The other thing that I always tell people to do is get really connected to your camera.
What do you mean?
Your camera is the audience, essentially, right? So like right now I'm looking right at you on my screen, but if I really wanted you to feel like I'm talking directly to you, I would have to look at the lens.
Yes.
And talk to the camera. And so if you can get connected to the camera and really like tune in and picture who that person is on the other side of the screen. Who is that person that's going to be watching you, that's going to be subscribing, that's going to be liking, that's going to be commenting and like falling in love with your content? Picture that one person and just talk right to that person. It'll make your content feel so much more authentic and connected.
Yeah, I mean, the looking in the camera, it is you need to get used to it, because it's even when I look into the camera now and I kind of see you like a little blurred out, it's difficult. It's difficult to look in there.
Yeah. I do a camera confidence course, and I one of my challenges in the course is to have people name their camera and write a love letter to it. So you give it a name, like you really get connected to it, because it's not a natural thing for us. It's not natural for us to like look into a robot. And I know you know this because you've worked in photography, is like, it's not natural for us to like look at a machine or a robot and feel like, oh yeah, this is my best friend. Like we're super connected and we're gonna get along well. Yeah, like, hey, what's up? So it's so normal to feel really weird about it. But if you can like, build a little bit of a rapport with your camera and like have your camera love you back, it's just going to make all the difference.
Yeah, because it will love you back, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that confidence comes with it, right?
Totally.
That's awesome. And so that video that I watched on your LinkedIn profile recently when you did the 360
Yes.
that was so funny. So you were talking about backgrounds. Can you talk a little bit about backgrounds?
Yeah,
Video.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of touched on it earlier in terms of like natural light.
Mm-hmm. Backgrounds, right? Natural lighting. We talked a little bit about that. I remember in that video you were also saying, you know, the distance between you and the window and you and the wall. So that's important. That's important.
Totally. I highly recommend that you get as close to your light source as possible without being like blown out. So you don't want to be super washed over with light that your face looks like the sun. But you do want to be close enough where you are the subject, right? So you want to be very well lit. You want to be the most well lit thing in the room. And then what you can do is use the depth that you have. A lot of times people will like go right up against their wall and think like, oh, it's a white background, it looks professional. But really what looks more professional is having some depth there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that you can also like work on playing with the staging of it. Like I've got like a little shelf there that I put there very intentionally. You know, the painting is very intentional. So it's like just to give it a little bit of personality and tell that story. Because at the end of the day, every single video that you make is part of your brand story. It's part of your narrative. And so if the littlest things make a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
So as much as possible, like I think the number one thing is to declutter. So don't have a lot of stuff behind you. Don't have a ton of like, you know, even if it's like dirty clothes or something, or like just like a disorganized bookshelf. Like there's lots of things that could distract from the message that you're carrying. So if you can declutter, that's step number one.
Yeah, definitely. These are amazing tips. And how about the distance between you and the camera? So like when you're like this, where you can only see your face, or when you're like this and you know I can also show my body language. Do you have thoughts on that? What do you
I mean, it depends on what you're most comfortable with. It's a little bit distracting if you're super close to the camera, so like being here might be a little too much. But sitting back, I generally tend to be like right here, but there's you can totally like, you know, sit back a little bit more. As you can see, I'm a little bit smaller now, right? And the frame is taking, or the outside frame is taking up more of the space. So the key is to really like take up as much space in the frame as possible. Wherever you can be, where you feel like you are the biggest thing on camera in the frame.
Yeah, definitely. That when you are too close to the camera, it can be spooky. And one of the guests on a talk show, he was like he must have been really close to his computer or whatever iPad. It was just his face, and the lighting was not very good. So, and I mean, quite honestly, it looked a little bit like a vampire almost. And and then also I started thinking about how, you know, like in some people, especially in different cultures, we have different ideas about the like physical proximity to each other. So when he was like this, I was like, I wanted to
move back a little bit.
Because you're too close to me.
Like you're in my personal space. You're like invading my bubble, right?
Yes.
It's like the person who stands too close to you in an elevator, which like, who knows if we'll ever be able to stand close to people in elevators again. But yeah, it's like, it can feel very uncomfortable, right? I mean, you really want to make the other person on the other side feel super comfortable. And if you're too close, you're not achieving that.
No. Yeah, but it was so funny. With the social distancing, we have to switch interviewing to this method. Has anyone been reaching out to you to help with that? How would you prepare someone for an interview over over video like this?
Yeah. So I mean, the videos that you saw that I've created for like LinkedIn recently are mini masterclass videos. So I put those out really to
Perfect.
help people who are, needing to be on camera a lot more and are not so used to it. So I have a video on camera confidence. I have a video on your background. I have a video on framing your shot. So there's I've just been putting out a lot of content lately around that and helping those people. The best thing to do is go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yeah. So it's bit.ly/Paige TV. All lowercase. And yeah, you can go over to my YouTube channel. I've got like lots of content, not just about this, but I've got some editing tutorials, like how to do YouTube tutorials. There's all kinds of stuff on there. So that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you talk about body language for video?
Yeah. I mean, body language. So the great thing about video, and also could be like the scary thing about video, is that you can't really hide.
Yes.
Like we were talking about it, the difference between a photo and a video. A photo, you can like touch it up, like make it look perfect until you're ready to share it. A video, you can't really touch up a video. Like you can put a filter on it.
Yes.
But the way that you're speaking is a big part of video. The way that you, whether you're using like filler words, like, which I just used, or which I tend to use. So filler words are a key for being on video and being aware of when you're using those words. Yeah, body language, like being sitting confidently in the posture and using your hands to talk, right? So it's amazing because it connects us more deeply and it feels more authentic to have that person like show up and just fully be themselves. But then it's also scary because you can't hide. You can't you can't be the version of yourself that you want to be. You are the version of yourself that you are on video.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I forget what your question was. Oh, body language.
Body language, yes. Yeah. Like what are your usual tips for like the confident body language in videos?
Well, the first thing I'll say is like to really get connected to your body before you get on video. So a lot of times what we'll do, and I don't know if I'm sure people watching can totally relate to this. I can relate to this. You might be able to too. Is you are about to do a live video and you've got it all planned out in your head and you've written it all down. You've got notes, like sticky notes all over. And then the camera comes on and you're like, hi. And you just kind of like forget, like you blank, right? And so the reason that happens is because you've been in your head and you've just been like thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and you're not connected to your body. Like you're so disconnected. So I love to do just like a 5-minute breathing meditation, close my eyes, like just feel my body sitting in the chair, and just really get connected to my body before I go on camera. I don't always do it, to be honest, but if it's like a big deal, if it's like a big webinar that I'm doing, I'll do that. Yeah. And yeah, body language is definitely really important. I think there's like, I think this might've been debunked, but there was some kind of study that was like 70% of what you say is nonverbal.
Yes.
Something like that.
I believe in that. I do believe in that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And that, it comes back to like making eye contact with the camera and really like, you want the person to feel comfortable and to feel excited to watch what you're putting out there, so yeah, body language is very, very important. And you just kind of, you play with it, you experiment with it, and the more you do, the better you'll get at it, and you'll just feel more comfortable doing it every time.
Yeah. So you mentioned connecting to your body through meditation or some, taking a breath and just quieting your mind. Do you have any tips for the opposite, meaning to pump up your energy a little bit? If you, let's say you were like a little bit in sort of like a nap-like state, right? But you still need to go on, right?
Yeah, totally.
So what do you do?
I mean, dance party is always the best one. I do a dance party before, like all the time, pretty much, especially now, you know, you need to like get up and move. I love putting on, I have like a playlist that like pumps me up, and I just put that on and I'll move my body even for like 30 seconds, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Power poses are also
Yeah.
great. If you're a big fan of power poses and just standing like
Yeah.
arms outstretched, legs outstretched, and just take up as much space as
Space.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that's what I
definitely.
would recommend.
There's something about just even, you know, raising your arms, your hands to the sky and like looking up. Just that, if you stand for
Yeah.
a couple of minutes, it changes the. It's so interesting.
All the energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about video is that it takes a lot of energy, because in a two-way conversation, like let's say it's not something like this, like an interview that I'm referring to. It's more like if you're making a video for your YouTube channel or something like that.
Just by yourself.
Yeah, there's no exchange. There's no
Mm-hmm.
exchange of energy. There's no like nobody nodding at you to
Yes.
say, I agree, right? So you really have to bring all of the energy. It's not 50-50, it's 100%. And it can be really tiring, you know? So the more you can pump yourself up and get your energy moving and flowing, the easier it'll be when you get on camera, and it'll be a lot more, you'll be able to deliver that high energy
Yeah.
as
Do
well.
you I've never really done recordings, or maybe, you know, like 30-second or 60-second long recordings, just me speaking. So
Mm-hmm.
I've never done really like an extended a video talking about
Mm-hmm.
something just by myself. I
That's your
definitely.
homework.
Okay,
I'm giving
I
you
will do.
homework to do that.
I will report back
Great.
in a week or so. No, but my question is, so basically what I'm saying is that for me, I definitely freeze. Like if I need to do something like this when it's just me looking at that green eye in my laptop or my phone or whatever, uh, yes, I will freeze. For
Mm-hmm.
me, even like with this podcasts that I decided to do, I wanted them to be on video so that I have that, even though it's not physical, you know, proximity to the person, but I need that sort of interaction, and then I can maintain the conversation. So I guess my question now, I'm curious for myself, let's say if I wanted to do, um, you know, videos of just me talking about, I don't know, like strings, right? Clifton
Mm-hmm.
strings. Um, do you ever recommend, or like, do you recommend recording them like in the smaller chunks, or how, let's say like if I freeze, would it be better for me to record maybe like 5 minutes of something and then 5 minutes of
Mm-hmm.
something else? How do you coach your people?
Everybody's different. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on what kind of stamina you have. The best thing to do is to batch your videos. Like if you think you're going to be releasing a video every week for the foreseeable future, record all your videos at once, back to back. So you can, and it's not just the recording that you get to batch. You can batch the brainstorming, the planning, the organizing, the outlining. Then you can batch practicing them back to back, right? Then you can batch shooting them, editing, doing subtitles, uploading, right? All of that other stuff. So it's a huge time saver if you
Mm.
can do that. The other thing that's worked really well for a lot of my clients is to do a live video first, and then just
Mm.
download that and use that for your, upload to your YouTube library, or your, wherever you store your videos, the rest of your social media.
You mean live video with the audience?
Yeah. Yeah. So doing a live video, the thing about that I really like is, there is no room for error. There's no room for like messing up and going back, right? For like regretting what you said. You
Yeah.
just have to roll with it, and you've got to
Yeah.
keep going. And a lot of times people are a lot more successful on live video because you don't have that in the back of your mind that like, oh, well, I'll just edit this later. Or I'll cut out that thing that I just said because I messed up. You're on the spot, and you guys just got to trust that you have everything you need to deliver exactly what you need to deliver. and people will get exactly what they need to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
And
doing a live video is like the stakes are pretty high, right? And then you're like done, and you can just
yeah.
download it and use it put it on Instagram, put it on LinkedIn, put it on YouTube afterward.
Yeah. No, this is a great. I never even thought about this, because I thought the normal progression is, let's say, yeah, to go from this sort of just recording yourself, you know, just talking talking by yourself to
Uh-huh.
the camera,
Yep.
and then the next step would be maybe doing like some live, I don't know, webinar or something. But yeah, this is a pretty cool idea. I've never really thought about that, so thank you. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will be super helpful for our audience
Yeah, I
who
mean,
are listening. Yeah.
if we're talking about fear, live video is a way to dive right in and conquer that fear, you know?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
tips do you offer? Because I think for myself, even, I think I'm still staying away from anything live, is because I think there are like all of these different excuse me, thoughts creeping in, like fear of judgment, or like what are they gonna think of me, or what are they gonna say, and like part of me knows, like a huge part of me knows nobody really cares. They're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna say anything
Uh-huh.
um negative, because actually what people probably will think is like, oh, she's so brave to do this. um but negative self-talk is a huge thing, right? So we still go through this. So what tips do you give to your clients, how to overcome this?
Specifically when you're going live.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So here's like my biggest tip for a live video that I love. Um, when you first, like, when that countdown clock happens and the light comes on and you're like, deer in headlights, call out how you're feeling. Just name it.
Mm,
Just say to your audience, so this is my first live and I'm feeling so nervous right now to be here with you, but I showed up anyway, and this is why. Right? So
mm,
calling that out does two things. First of all, it disappears that feeling, or at least dissipates it, right? It'll like make it kind of it's not as big anymore, right? The
mm-hmm.
other thing is that it allows your audience in. It makes your audience feel like, oh, okay, she's human and I want to root for her. I really want her to
Mm,
succeed at this because she was super honest and vulnerable with me from the get-go.
yeah,
So
yeah,
call that feeling out. Like, don't try to hide it. Again, video is about coming out and being visible and not hiding.
yeah.
So the more you can say the thing that's like really uncomfortable, like, whew, I am sweating right now, guys. It is so hot in here, which it actually is, like, really hot in here. But yeah, and then go into your content and really just show up to deliver value.
That's so amazing. um yeah, it's super amazing. Like, being vulnerable, obviously people will respond to that. And also, it's so interesting you just mentioned, go into your why you're doing this. I recorded another episode this morning with a good friend, and we were also talking about this, how why is always important, like for anything, right, in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think when you start talking about this, and especially I feel like in our fields we are, our wise is always around helping somebody to do something better, and it becomes sort of mission, and yeah, people will relate to that definitely. So yeah, so this
Totally.
is an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing tip. Yeah.
Simon Sinek talks about that all the time. And it's really like, it's so cool, I think, because your why connects with your limbic system,
Mm,
and it's like, it's that thing that's like, oh, I hired her for that program, or I bought that course. I don't know why, I just felt it. I felt it in my gut. Like, that was like a good
mm,
decision, right?
yeah.
So we make buying decisions based on the why. And I always talk about the how, because the
Mm-hmm.
how is, for me and for video and the people in my world, is like, how do you present yourself? How do you
Mm-hmm.
show up? How do you speak? How do you deliver your value? Right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is all tied in with your why as well. And so I think the how just goes like even deeper, because when you show up on video, people can see and feel you in a way
Yes.
that they can't really put into words, but they're like, I get this person. You know, they see you and they're like, oh, I get her energy, I like it, I'm gonna buy that course, right?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I just remembered actually another point I wanted to make when you were speaking about, naming your emotion if you're nervous going, live for the first time. It also goes back to that, and you said like, do not hide it, right? It also goes back to that piece of body language, because people will be able to tell when you're hiding something.
Yeah.
uh, this is, again, it's nonverbal versus verbal. When we're hiding something, we're not feeling comfortable about it, and it shows, like
Yeah.
there's some stiffness or something rather. So yeah, so this amazing tips, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
How does the situation that we are in globally right now, how does it affect your business? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you probably, not probably, but you most likely have been doing this remotely anyway, but
Yeah.
what are you noticing about your routines, or how has it affected you, and how do you cope with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of answers to that. I mean, I work from home anyway, right? So like a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of small business owners, my schedule didn't really change much. Like I just still had a lot of the same structures and systems in place, but there's like a different feeling about it now.
Mm,
There's a different feeling. For me personally, this whole experience has just brought to light how important my work is,
yes.
because so many people are now needing to take their businesses online, or needing to pivot, or needing to learn how to, do their video background.
Yeah.
Information that I've like always known and I've used for years and years and years. And I'm like, nobody needs this. It's silly, right? But it
Mm,
actually, it just brings this deeper sense of purpose into my
yes.
life.
Mm.
And it's been like really, really incredible to I don't know, just kind of like go through my own transformation of getting more connected to my
Mm.
purpose and
And to your why.
to my why.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned whenever your body asks you to do it, you do yoga. You try not to do the back to backs as much. What else are you sort of paying attention to and doing to stay healthy? Both physically, mentally. What are your go-to activities?
I love cooking anyway. I've always loved cooking, but I've just been like cooking a lot more and doing more like meal prep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting really creative with that. I started I've had this idea for a while, and this is like, I guess it's kind of related to video, but I started a little web series that it's not released yet, but it's called Cooking for One. And it's basically about a girl who goes through a breakup and has to learn how to cook for herself.
Aw.
So it's like every episode's like a different emotion and a different recipe, and kind of like working through that. So I've been like really excited about like getting creative with that stuff, and just I've just been feeling very, very creative, and I want to
Mm.
put more things out there and share that with the world. And I've been going on walks. I've been really, really appreciating walks a lot more than I ever did before. And I used to like be like, all right, I'm just gonna go around the block, and now I just can't. Like I'm like, I'll just go as long as I feel like going, and then I'll turn around whenever I feel like turning around.
That's so good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love that what you just mentioned about creativity, because as we spoke just now before we started recording, that's definitely something that has been happening for me. I think it's because the situation, however unfortunate it is, it has given me this space, this mental space to, recover almost from my subconscious, all of those different things that I have been thinking about. And so I finally am, taking steps to work on those multiple projects that I have wanted to. I never really asked you actually about how did you get into what you're doing now?
Good question. So I let's see. I graduated college and got my very first job teaching English in Japan.
What?
So I was an English teacher in Japan right after college, and I had a communication degree and I minored in Spanish. So I moved to a country where I can't communicate and they don't speak Spanish. I was like, my degree is so useless here. So I had to find like an alternative way to show people what my experiences were and to communicate. And one of the things that I started doing was just shooting little videos of Japanese culture and making these little kind of like travel videos. And I would put them on YouTube and send them to my friends and family. Next thing I know, I'm getting like tens of thousands of views on these videos. And this is in 2009. So YouTube still like didn't know what it was, you know, YouTube was like still becoming, it was like an infant, right? And when I came back from Japan, I got really interested in video production. So I studied at the Travel Channel. I like took classes there, learned they had like some this sort of like internship program. So I studied there, and then just started like interning at all different production companies. And I built my production company when I moved to New York in 2011. Maybe in 2012 I started the company. So yeah, it was and that was, you know, I worked in making videos for small businesses for a while, and now, you know, after transitioning from New York to LA, I work pretty much just remotely and strategizing and helping people with camera confidence. And I have a bunch of courses that I sell online now to help people with video strategy and camera confidence.
That's so cool. I'm curious. So did you speak Japanese? No, you said that you. So
didn't.
How what inspired you to move there?
I've always been really interested in Asian culture. I really loved Asian culture. I had been to China and Vietnam, and I'd been to Japan before. So I really just like loved the culture. And I was at a job fair my senior year of college, and all the booths were so boring to me. I was like, I'm not going to work in insurance. And there was just like one booth that was like the Japanese exchange and teaching program. And I'm like, oh, Japanese, like what? So I applied. It's through the Japanese embassy. So it wasn't like, you know, I could choose any country I wanted to go to. It was like, this program sends you to Japan. And it just, the next thing I knew, I was on a plane without an ounce of Japanese language experience or, I just didn't know anything. And it was incredible. Sometimes that's the best way to do something, right?
Yeah, to explore. How long were you there?
I was there a little over a year.
Oh, yeah, that's a good chunk of time. Really good. Yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely acquired language skills while I was there, and I learned to speak a decent amount. Like I could get by, you know, but then after a while, I forgot. Like you come back here and you just kind of.
No, it's like it's within you. Like, I mean, I am forgetting Russian now, you know. Sometimes I speak to my friends or family back there, and they would tell me like, Katya, can you really speak? Like, are you forgetting it? You have an accent. Like, apparently when I speak Russian now, I have an accent. Okay, great.
Really?
Well, that's so what they tell me. That's what they tell me. I don't know. I guess I do.
I guess you do.
I guess I
wouldn't know the difference. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, apparently I don't either anymore. So, but no, this is funny. What else? So obviously you love different cultures. You love to travel. So how do you feel now with the?
To be honest, I love where I live. I live in like, I'm not really like in LA proper. I'm in this like little beach town south of LA. And I just love it so much. So even before COVID, I was like, I don't really have a desire to travel right now. I just really want to be grounded and get connected with like the beach and my community, and just I really, really had this desire to like be here. And then once COVID started, I'm like, wait, I can't get on a plane right now. I need to, like I'm like dying. So I miss it. I really do miss travel, but I've also I've traveled so much that I'm like, it feels really good to have a home right now and a place where I can feel safe and comfortable and can like just really thrive and put some roots down,
Yeah. But is there a country you would love to go when this is sort of
I mean,
over?
my friend is supposed to get married in Italy in a couple months. So I don't know I don't know if that's going to happen. I would love to go to Italy.
Yeah.
And I would love to go to South America. I've done a lot of Asia travel, and South America is like calling to me now.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been there either. I've been to Italy a couple of times, but no, not South America.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go together when this is over.
Let's do a field trip. I'm so down.
Yeah.
Any opportunity, I'm in.
Okay. All right. I think on this note, we can wrap up.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time today. I'm so happy you could find a little bit of time for us. Any words for the audience? Again, we talked about how they can find you. Anything else you would like to share with the people who are watching?
Well, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have a video personality quiz there. You can take the video personality quiz, and that'll give you a lot of like inspiration and ideas for kinds of content you can make with your video personality specifically. So it just helps you sort of understand your voice as a creator a little bit better. And then once you take the quiz, you'll be like on my list, and I'll let you know when I have my next improv class and all of that good stuff. So I've just got lots of stuff coming up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you like this video, obviously you loved Paige, so please.
And Katya.
Yeah.
We're a dynamic duo, girl.
Yes. Yeah, we'll start something together very soon. Yeah. So please subscribe. There's a button below this video somewhere. I will be bringing more wonderful and fun people to talk to, and we will go deep, and it will be interesting, and you will learn something for sure. Thank you so much. I love you all. Be safe and healthy. Bye.